Today, we bring you a very special case. It's the player who scored the Raptors' first victory in the final, and who defines well what this city of welcome and mixture of races and cultures is all about. He is Pascal Siakam, who has scored 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in his debut, and of the Raptors themselves, in a game for the ring, which also has a rather curious and little-known history. But if you want to know more in detail and learn some curiosities about his life, join us until the end of the video and you will not be disappointed. Pascal Siakam was born on 2nd of April, 1994 in Douala, Cameroon. His father, who combined his work in a transport company with the mayor's office in the town of Makenene, sent him to St. Andrew's Seminary, a Catholic institution, at the age of 11. The idea of the father, and of the family in general, was that he would represent the Catholicism of all of them from the institutions. The goal was for him to become a priest, and his great academic record gave him a promising future in the seminary. But at the age of 15, he said enough, when he realized that religious life was not for him. At first, he didn't pay much attention to basketball, unlike his 3 older brothers who got scholarships to American universities. But everything changed when Luka Mbah-a-Moute crossed his path. The Milwaukee Bucks player saw him in action at St. Andrews, in the town of Bafia, the same as his parents' home, just 3 kilometers away. Mbah-a-Moute eventually convinced Siakam of his potential, and he went to their basketball camp in the summer. The following year, and again at camp, fate wanted him to do an incredible pirouette. Masai Ujiri, president of the Raptors, saw it live. Quote, "The effort with which he plays is memorable," end quote. Ujiri would say that a boy who was already attracting attention for his athleticism and his energy on the track. With Mbah-a-Moute's blessing, he moved to the United States at the age of 16. He spent 3 years at New Mexico State University, the first one not playing due to injury, and the last one was named Player of the Year in the university's Western Conference, to be presented to the draft in 2019. And who remembered him then? Indeed, Masai Ujiri. That led him to the 2019 draft, in which Ujiri remembered the Cameroonian and did not hesitate to choose him as the pick 27 with his team, the Raptors. His progress had exceeded any possible expectations, from scoring 4.2 points in the first year to 7.3 the second, to end up exploding in his third season with 16.9 on average. He is the hot favorite for the MVP award, which is presented on June 24th. He can go to that gala as an NBA champion, and, for the moment, the first stone of that team has been laid by him. Will this African be the first player in NBA history to win the Most Improved Player award for the 2nd straight year? The Cameroonian is once again having the best numbers of his career, and this makes it a possibility, but how he is achieving it is what strengthens his argument. His development is being incredible. In his rookie season, he divided his time between the NBA and the D-League, where he won the title and the MVP awards of the finals with the Raptors. In his 2nd year as a professional, he was a member of the great second unit that helped the Toronto Raptors win a record 59 games. In his 3rd campaign, he was promoted to the starting 5 and played a key role in helping the Raptors win their first ever championship, while taking home the Most Improved Player award. Siakam's numbers speak for themselves, but what stands out most is how he achieves them. Looking at the play type data we can find on NBA.com, it's clear how Siakam rebuilt himself as a player in each of the last 3 seasons, going from being a role player to the team's star. The first thing that stands out is how much offense he's generating compared to years past. Not only in the area where he scored the most points in individual plays last season, but now Siakam is having more opportunities to handle the ball in pick and rolls. The combination of this doubles the time the ball is in his hands from 2.5 minutes in 2018 to 2019 to 4.2 minutes this season. Although this is new territory for Siakam, it is proving surprisingly effective and converting in these situations. According to NBA.com, he is in the 61st percentile with a .94 per clear. He's not shooting particularly well in those situations, but he benefits by going to the free throw line as often as LeBron James, Damion Lillard, or Giannis Antetokounmpo. Siakam ranks highest in pick and roll efficiency, where he is in the 71st percentile with .94 points per possession. His evolution as a shooter is a big factor in his growth as a pick and roll scorer. While last season he did not do much more than shoot from the corners of the court, he now expanded his range around the perimeter and is much more comfortable shooting from the dribble. As a result, Siakam has already converted more triples from outside the corners, above the break, and from the dribble, pull-ups, than he scored in all of 2018 to 2019. It is already encouraging that Siakam is taking these shots. He didn't last season, which cleared the way for the Philadelphia 76ers to defend him with Joel Embiid in the conference semifinals. a series in which Siakam didn't perform well after shining in Game 1. Knowing he wasn't much of a scoring threat off the field, Embiid gave him plenty of space, basically parking in the painted area to wait for him. Siakam had to take shots he wasn't comfortable with or force shots near the hoop against one of the best inside defenders in the entire NBA. The Toronto player is still having trouble against bigger defenders this season, most notably against Anthony Davis and Giannis Antetokounmpo. But those threesomes from the dribble and in front of the basket may be a step towards a solution to overcome the type of effective defense against him, because defenders like Embiid will no longer be able to ignore him when he has the ball at the top of the perimeter. They will have to pressure him, which will give Siakam more opportunities to take advantage from his virtues when facing the goal, both in rinses and pick and rolls. This is also helped by Siakam's improvement in dribbling, to the extent that he has become one of the best in the business among those in his position. There are simply not that many players of his size who can do things like this. Siakam himself knows how important those shots are to his own development. I have to be able to convert shots. I have to be able to be dangerous not only when I attack the basket, but also on the perimeter, he said after Toronto's victory over Philadelphia. That's something I keep working on every day, because when they put an intern on defense, I have to be able to connect those shots so they come a little bit closer and I can beat them with the dribble. The new and improved version of Siakam has the Raptors converting at a rate of 103.3 points per 100 possessions with him on the court this season. With Siakam on the bench, Toronto's offensive rating dropped to 97.3. That's the difference between the Raptors having one of the two best offensive in the league and the worst in the NBA by a long shot. All of this contributes to Siakam's achievement of several personal milestones this season. Based on what he's done so far, he's set to represent the Raptors at the All-Star game for the first time in his career. He is also on his way to being nominated for an All-NBA team for the first time and is in early discussion for the MVP. He is currently ranked 8th in the MVP tracker of Basketball Reference, a model that uses pre-voting to project who the top candidates are for that award. Siakam is very unlikely to win the MVP. He faces competitors such as LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and James Harden, to name a few. But his argument will only grow as he and the Raptors sustain this level. In fact, Siakam may even become the first player in NBA history to win the Most Improved Player award more than once. While he is looking to do better this season, there is no doubt that he is once again in the running for that award.
I picked two guys to make the All-Star team for the first time. I picked CJ McCollum and I picked Siakam. What Siakam did last year in the postseason really impressed me. I know Kawhi got all the praise, but if you go back and look at his numbers, man, he was putting up numbers and was, it was one game where he was 13 for 15 from the field. And I'm like, the sky's the limit for this kid. And if you watch him play right now, not only is he gonna make the All-Star game, but the way that he has the Toronto rolling, he might be in the MVP conversation.
The jump he made last season was impressive, but very few players go from being close to being an All-Star to being among the top 20 players in the league. But there are still more ways for Siakam to improve. And considering what he's done for the past 3 years, there's no reason not to believe he will continue to improve. Will he do it in his father's name? Siakam has already won an NBA ring with the Raptors, but before the glorious title of the franchise, the player's only goal was to thank his father. His father died in 2014 in a car accident while studying in the United States, an event that changed Pascal Siakam a lot. The Toronto Star said his father was the best man he had ever known, and that forcing him to go to seminary was to teach him to work hard, to believe in himself, and to be part of a team. A star is born. In August 2019, Raptors coach Nick Nurse had predicted that Pascal Siakam would become the team's biggest star after the franchise became champion and Leonard moved to LA. But it's one thing to think about it and another thing to check it out. With numbers and results, the Cameroonian star, who could have been a priest, is the new star of Toronto, who hopes to repeat last season's feat in 2020. It's time for Siakam to be our man. He has played very well as a complementary man to another star, but it's time for him to become our star. We need him to be our main attacking reference, the man everyone looks up to when the last few minutes of the game come. He's got a few steps left to climb, and we think the sky is the limit for him. You already know more about this young, promising player? Perfect, that was our intention. We'd also appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to know when we upload material right away, just ring the bell and we'll let you know. Until the next video.